Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to my kitchen. Today I want to show you how to make one of my most popular breads, Italian sesame seed bread. I'm going to show you how to make one dough, then how to use that dough to make a boule, sandwich bread, and dinner rolls. You'll love this. I'll be using 14 ounces cool water, 1 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon instant yeast, 1 tablespoon sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil, and 3 1/2 cups bread flour. Let's get started. 14 ounces cool tap water. There's no reason to use warm water. You have a long proofing time and cool water is better for that. 1 1/2 teaspoon salt. I use a teaspoon. Then I make the teaspoon heaping. That gives me a teaspoon and a half. 1/4 teaspoon instant yeast. Shake to level, in it goes. We're going to put in some sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon. And 1 tablespoon olive oil. When you have an Italian bread, you'll have olive oil in it. If it's a French bread, they don't use olive oil. A French baguette, as an example, does not have olive oil in it. I'll stir to combine. Three and 1/2 cups bread flour. We'll start out with a 1/2 cup. Note, I'm going to drop it on the side. If you drop it on the side, it doesn't splash. 1 cup. I drop it on the other one. 2. And 3. Shape to level does not have to be precise. Think about it. When you see a baker, when they get through with the dough, what do? They roll it in flour, because you can add flour to it. Just isn't a problem. It doesn't have to be precise. It's a very forgiving recipe. Stir to combine. Okay, going to go around the outsides and draw it in. Go around the outside and draw it in. Going around the outside, that brings a lot of it into the main and the center ball. And now look, I have 90% of it in the dough in the center. I scrape the outside. That brings the last dough into the dough ball. Then I'm going to tumble it. That just takes the bottom, brings it up. The bottom might have some dry flour on it, and it just introduces it to the wet. And that's how simple it is. All we need to do now is cover the dough with plastic wrap, and it's ready to proof. No-knead dough should be proofed for 8 to 24 hours. I generally proof overnight on the kitchen counter. The dough is proofed overnight, and it's time to make the bread. The dough is proofed overnight and more than doubled in size. The first step is to degas, pull, and stretch the dough to make it into a smaller dough ball. Okay, I want to scrape my sides. I want to get all the dough in. It's only a little bit there, but we want to get it in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to garnish the outside of the dough with sesame seeds. You see, this is a sticky dough, and let's take advantage of it. If we add the sesame seeds now, they will stick. I'm putting 2 tablespoons in. Then I'm going to take the dough ball roll it in the sesame seeds. Okay, that we're going to do for all of them. This is the starting point. Now we can fix it several different ways. The first one is I'm going to do it in the Dutch oven. Now the Dutch oven is put in the oven and it's preheated. Because it's going to be preheated in the oven, we have to put it into something else to proof. I put it in what I call a proofing skillet. I'm going to spray the proofing skillet with no stick spray. I'm going to roll the dough out, put it in the proofing skillet. I'll put that off to the side. Now, why this is advantageous is it will shape the dough into a round shape. Then when this is hot, I'll be able to open it up and just plop it in. So, we're ready to proof. All we need to do now is cover the proofing skillet with a lint-free towel and it's ready to proof. Proof dough for 30 to 60 minutes. Before dough is fully proofed, move oven rack to lower third of the oven. Place Dutch oven in oven and preheat to 450 degrees. And here's how easy it is to pass the dough on. This is a hot Dutch oven, so I'm using hot pads. I'll shake the center, cover back on, and take it up to the oven. Bake for 30 minutes with the lid on and 5 to 15 minutes with the lid off, depending upon how rustic you like your crust. Once again, we're starting at the same point. Dough is proofed overnight. I'm going to degas, pull and stretch it, going around the outside, bringing the dough into the middle. One of the reasons I use plastic is because dough sticks less to it. Scrape the excess dough from the sides. Add 2 tablespoons sesame seeds. I'm putting some on the side of the glass so that when we roll it, it'll pick up on that. Now I'm going to roll the dough in the sesame seeds. And look how well they stick. You got wet dough, sticks real easy. So we're going to bake it in a bread pan. I use bread pans with rounded corners. They're better. This is an 8.5 by 4.5. Nice pan. What I love about it is this flat edge here. This is really nice. It's easy to clean, and I'll show you why I like that flat edge in a minute. I'm going to spray it with no stick spray through the bottom, side, 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 and side. Here's how easy it is. Just take your dough and roll it into the bread pan. I'm not even going to shape it. It'll shape itself as it rises. That's how easy it is. All we need to do now is cover the pan with a lint-free towel and it's ready to proof. Proof dough for 30 minutes. Before dough is fully proofed, move oven rack to lower third of the oven and preheat to 400 degrees. Bake for 40 minutes at 400 degrees. Now I'd like to show you the newest technique. You take that same bread pan that you would have used. Instead of baking it open, you cover it. I'm going to spray the edge there, because as the dough rises, it might touch those 2 spots. This, by the way, is why I like this to be nice and flat, because that'll rest perfectly on there. I'll take a binder clip, same type you get at a stationery store. I'll put it on the end there. Put it on the other end. And now I have an enclosed environment. Now why you would like to do this is, this protects the crust. It'll give you a soft crust. If you have children and your children don't like the hard crust of a rustic loaf of bread, this will give you a softer crust. Proof dough for 30 minutes. Before dough is fully proofed, move oven rack to lower third of the oven and preheat to 400 degrees. Bake for 40 minutes at 400 degrees with the top on and 3 to 10 minutes with the top off. Because a poor man's Dutch oven protects the crust from the heating element, it can be used to bake bread in a toaster oven. I like to bake bread in a toaster oven because it's energy efficient and it doesn't overheat the kitchen in the summer. Set toaster oven to 400 degrees and bake for 45 minutes. 5 extra minutes because the toaster oven is not preheated, and it is not necessary to bake it with the top off because it is closer to the heating element. So let's make some dinner rolls. I'm going to start with the same dough ball. Gas, pull and stretch, bring the dough ball down. Scrape the sides. Garnish with sesame seeds. 2 tablespoons. Notice I'm putting it on the glass. I want some excess on the glass so that when I lift this, they'll be able to run underneath the dough. And there we go. Okay, when you make rolls, this time you're going to have to handle it. This dough ball is a bit sticky. The way to solve that is I add some flour. Roll to coat it in the flour. Put a little flour on the work surface. Roll the dough out on the flour. Form it into a circle. This is called a bowl scraper. When you wash these bowls, you can use that edge of this bowl scraper to help clean it. Okay, I'm going to cut it in half. Oops, I didn't spray this yet. That's what I need to do. See, I use baking vessels to form and shape my rolls. You don't have to shape them by hand. You always can if you would like to, but you don't have to. I'm going to cut this in half. Then I just take it, plop it in, plop it in, plop it in, cut it in half. Cut it in quarters, plop it in, plop it in, there we go. Now, they look really irregular right now, but don't worry about that. As they rise, they will fill the cups. All we need to do now is cover the pan with a lint-free towel and it's ready to proof. Proof dough for 30 minutes. Before dough is fully proofed, move oven rack to the middle of the oven and preheat to 450 degrees. Bake for 15 minutes at 450 degrees. The bread is ready. Let's take a look. And here's the bread. Here's a Boule. That was out of the Dutch oven. Sandwich bread. Out of the poor man's Dutch oven. And dinner rolls. I generally like to tear bread. Look at the crumb. That is absolutely gorgeous. It was delicious. The recipe is an artisan recipe, which means each of this is an artisan loaf of bread, and these are artisan rolls. You'll taste the difference. Thank you for watching. The point is, you can take bread dough and bake it in a variety of shapes. The dough recipe remains the same, but the baking time, temperature, and technique change. This applies to all recipes in my cookbooks. If you like this video, the two videos I would recommend are My First No-Knead Bread. It's a video for kids of all ages, and How to Bake No-Knead Bread in a Toaster Oven. This recipe and others like it are in my cookbook, My No-Knead Bread Cookbook. Cookbooks and videos are available on my website, no-kneadbreadcentral.com.